Well, I'm gonna do something that I haven't really done ever before in one of my videos, and it's talk about politics. And the reason why I don't really like talking about politics is because, for one, when people come on YouTube and talk about politics, they want you to get you to be on their side about the whole situation. They want you to get you to vote for the person that they would want to vote for in the whole entire situation. I just want to make this as a disclaimer. Feel free to vote for whoever you want to vote for. This is not a political ad for any means. This is just talking about the future of the state of Georgia and who could be the next potential governor. Now, Stacey Abrams, if you don't know, if you haven't been in the media by now, she is pushing for the governor race in Georgia. She's going against Brian Kemp, another person that's going against Stacey Abrams. I believe Brian Kemp is a Republican. But anyways, Stacey Abrams isn't originally from Georgia. She is from Wisconsin, I believe, but she grew up in Mississippi, I believe, and she ended up moving to Georgia in her teen years. But she went to Spelman College in Atlanta. Now, I just want to get into like what she really represents, because a lot about politics you see a lot in the news, especially in the media, where they're just saying, well, she's going to change this and change that. But it's really important to know and understand about politics is the main talking points, or the main points that the person is trying to indicate, where they're trying to lead into where they're trying to change when they get inside the office. Now, these are some critical points that she talked about that I seen in the video that she sat down with another Fox reporter in Atlanta. And she was really talking about everything that needs to change in the state of Georgia, especially Medicaid. This is one of the main topics that you really see her talking about, is Medicaid expansion across the whole state of Georgia. That way that it can cover over 500,000 people in the state of Georgia. And she's really for the Medicaid expansion across the whole state of Georgia, because she believes that it can cause 56,000 jobs across the whole state of Georgia. And Medicaid expansion, really the whole Medicaid startup, that costs $156 million a year, I believe, in the state of Georgia. And this could really impact a lot of people's health programs, and especially hospitals, especially a lot of the rural hospitals that are in the state of Georgia, in different other counties that may not have like that big structured hospital. A lot of hospitals across the state of Georgia are closing, especially in poor cities and poor counties. And also, what she also is saying is that Medicaid will help reduce the criminal rate, because now if you can have access to Medicaid, people will start to go to the doctors more, and people will get evaluated more for their mental diseases, because we all know in many communities that we live in, we have a lot of people that are living bipolar syndromes, just living with all types of mental diseases, PTSD. You have people that's living with, all types of various forms of mental illnesses, especially in the Black community. And, that's one thing that I feel like she really focuses on, because if you can help these people access to mental health programs, then that could reduce a lot of the criminal crime rate that's going on in the state of Georgia. And also, as a Democrat, you would know that she is against Trump for a few reasons. One of them is for immigration reform. That's one of the biggest points that she talked about as well. Immigration. I know that doesn't really sound like a big thing in the state of Georgia, but to be honest with you, if you on a job and you're working on a construction job, or just anywhere in the state of Georgia, you're going to see some Hispanic people, whether or not they come here legally or illegally. That's another question. But she really wants more so of a pathway to citizenship, like a system, so that way that the Hispanics or anybody else that's in the country illegally, they would have to go through process that way, that it's kind of like being grandfathered in, and I kind of experienced this when I was working in construction work, when you seen a lot of like old people like in their 60s that have been doing construction work, but they haven't went to school for it, but they know all the stuff that somebody that went to school for it, so they didn't have to go back to school. They just went to a process and where you was grandfathered in. For people that worked in the construction field, y'all probably know what I'm talking about, but it's kind of like the same process where you want people to, if you have, okay, you know, if you have a family, let's just say if a Hispanic came to the country illegally 10 years ago, and by 10 years later, you have a family, you have a wife, you know, you have children, you know, Georgia doesn't want to separate the family, you know, at all. So it would be a better process, is that way if you can just be grandfathered in, that way you can just, you know, have your citizenship. You know, nobody really wants to remove you away from your family, especially if your daughter or any other relatives that you have are born in America. So she really wants that to really change as far as, you know, the immigration reform. You know, and also she wants to make voting more accessible. And I really understand where she's coming from, because, you know, she feel like, you know, a lot of African Americans are targeted due to the fact that you know, a lot of them can't vote because of, you know, they have felonies on their record, or they just don't meet the requirements to actually be a voter. And what she was explaining in the interview that I was looking at just a minute ago was that there was about 33,000 voters that lost their rights to a systematic process mainly aimed to blacks, of course. And also another talking point that I noticed that she talked about is more economic growth to smaller counties that are struggling in the state of Georgia, because there are plenty of counties. If you go way beyond Chatham County, where I live, you know, you'll see a lot of counties that are struggling, that just have that, you know, that mom and pop type, you know, structure of a town. And you know what? A lot of towns and a lot of cities don't want to be like Atlanta. You know, they don't want to have that, you know, big structural city. And, you know, a lot of counties in Georgia, I can understand that a lot of places don't want to replicate other cities in Georgia, you know, but I believe that what she feels is that every county should be self-sufficient, so that way if you live in a county, you don't have to drive 3 or 4 counties away just to travel to a job that's good paying. And just in case if you're wondering what's the poorest places in Georgia, Wheeler County is the poorest county in Georgia. Now, this is the second poorest county in America. Now, the poorest city, however, is Davidsboro. That's a city in Washington County. That's in Georgia. Now, I actually met somebody from Washington County, man, and they don't even really speak real English out there, man. It's crazy, but that's another story. But, you know, she really believes that, you know, poverty could be changed, especially if you put businesses and really of the rural towns and the smaller towns, so that way nobody can really travel, like especially in Chatham County. You know, you have people from Bryan County and people from South Carolina that often travel to Georgia, that travel to Savannah to work. So you know, you have plenty of those type of people that have to travel outside of the city just to get to a job, and they live, you know, several miles away. Now, what she also want to do is have renewable energy in southern Georgia. I just found this out, that Georgia is one of the few states that have 4 types of renewable energy. That's hydro, biomass, wind, and solar energy. And also, if these jobs are really approved in the southern counties of Georgia, jobs can be spread across, you know, the whole southern Georgia. You know, this could be at least 10,000 plus jobs, at least, thinking about it. And also another talking point, which a lot of candidates talk about, you know, public education. You know, she wants you know, the education to be invested in, you know. And they were saying is that Georgia, the state of Georgia, had access to $9 billion that could have been invested in public schools. The thing that you have to understand about investing in public schools is that, you know, every school and every county needs different things. Of course, a county in Georgia, that has like a big poverty problem, they might need a school that has a little bit more programs, a little bit more stuff, because you know, a lot of children, especially in Chatham County, man, I can't tell you how many times I went to school. You know, this is about 9-10 years ago when I went to school, and a lot of kids depended on school lunch because they didn't have nothing to eat when they went home, like literally starving, you know. And a lot of children, and it's not even just the food, you know, school supplies, books, you know, and of course, children that live in poverty need more than a child that is living, I guess, above the poverty rate. You know, a child gonna need books. You know, he's gonna need pencils. You know, he's gonna need all that. I'm not saying that the public school could provide all of that stuff, but you know, there's plenty of things that the students really need just to get through a semester. But you know, and she also is for medical marijuana. You know, I just found this out too. But she wants it be done in a way that you can cultivate the crop in Georgia, and you can also distribute it in Georgia. Because if you didn't know, I did a video about the decriminalization of marijuana in the state of Georgia. If you haven't seen that video, I'll put that link in the description. You can watch it for yourself. But basically, what I said in that video was that, you know, CBD is legal, and some forms of medical marijuana is legal in certain parts, but you know, you can't legally purchase it, you know, outside of the state and bring it out and bring it to the state. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's just say if I had some CBD product in the state of Texas and I wanted to buy it from Texas, but I live in Georgia, you know, of course, you're traveling narcotics. That's how they view it, narcotics. And you're traveling and you're taking it from the state of Texas across several states to Georgia. So it's not legal to purchase it, you know. And I broke that down in that video. I broke it down way better, you know. But it's a big loophole in the state of Georgia. And I feel like Georgia does have the land and the property and actually the ground to actually do something like this. I mean, Georgia could be like the next California when it comes to weed production, like literally, especially in Atlanta and also in the southern counties of Georgia as well. But you know, like I said, this video is not meant to, you know, boast somebody else. Vote for who you want to vote for, man. I looked at Brian Kemp, the guy that she is going against, man, and like 20 minutes into the video, I said, man, you know, this ain't it. This ain't it. You know, he had like the awkwardest, he had some of the poor solutions for some of the questions that he was being asked to answer. So, you know, like I said, I'm not telling people who to vote for, but if you watch this video and you feel otherwise, then hey, vote for who you want to vote for. But the official vote is November the 6th. So, you know, if you already registered, you know, go make that happen. Vote for who you want to vote for. But that's all for right now. I decided just, you know, do something political just to, you know, educate the people of not even just Chatham County, but just people in Georgia. Because a lot of people, they don't really understand what she might really represent. You know, they might just be telling, okay, well, just vote for her because, you know, she's a black lady. No, she's you know, she's more than just a black lady. She is somebody that comes from poverty and come from struggling times, and that wants to see people, especially Georgians, do better as a whole. And she's really being made fun of a lot because she's being talked about saying that you know, she's struggling with her own debt because she's being made fun of by a $50,000 school loan or something like that. You know, I mean, like that's the thing about politics. You're going to be attacked from multiple sides, you know, vice versa. So, you know, politics is a dirty game. That's why I really don't really talk about it, because, you know, a lot of people just want to view it from one side, and it's kind of hard to view it from both sides. But that's it for right now. Any other updates about this, I'll let you know as well. But stay blessed, Seaport and the state of Georgia.
You've promised to cut spending by slashing what you call obsolete, inefficient, unnecessary, and unconstitutional agencies. What specifically would you eliminate? And what do you say to Georgians who might depend on their services?
Get another job. What is that noise?